Well, it is Thursday evening, May the 16th. This is your girl, Dr. Ray, not live. Y'all know in my authenticity, I only speak from lived experiences of others, some of the things that I see on the internet or learn in, various workshops as a result from my profession, So I had a brief stint for those of you who have been following me with getting back onto online dating on Facebook, right? And so I don't have anything bad to say about it. What you get out is what you put in. So I wasn't on there very long. I can say that I went on 2 dates, I guess. Because honestly, I was reluctant to get on there. Number one, because it just takes a lot of time, effort, and energy. And I'm just in a space where I don't have the energy to, I guess, date multiple people. There's nothing wrong with dating multiple people. A lot of people recommend that, that you do, especially depending on what space you're in. I just feel like it doesn't take a long time for you to know what you want or what you're looking for. But on the flip side, what you identify in someone, they may not be identifying that in you. So that's where it can get kind of tricky. And that's why some people say, especially for women, just date multiple people. And I guess for some men too, right? And I honestly believe that in my core that we all really know what we want in our core, right? People will sometimes say that they don't know what they want. So, my content now is really for singles over 40. Why? Because I'm a single over 40. But also my content is for those who, desire commitment, a long-term partnership, desire marriage, and what to do while we're waiting, while we're preparing. I never speak from the space of being married because I haven't been that. I speak from the space of a single person who has that desire, right, for partnership, commitment. And so how are we going to get to that if we don't put ourselves out there and meet people and date? Online, you don't have to use a dating site. You could just be on Facebook or whatever social media platform that you use. It could be somebody that you have you all have the same interests. You know what I mean? Or y'all may have some mutual friends. It could be somebody from the workplace, even though that's a whole nother story. We're not going to talk about that. You don't, one friend, her mama told us, you don't shit where you eat. Don't mess up your money, right? Don't mess up your money. So it just really depends. Like maybe if they're in a different department, and that's another story for another time. Been there, done that. I'm not looking for that. But you can certainly make friends in the workplace though. What else? Maybe it could be somebody from church. That's probably a good thing. Or just, if it's not online, it could just be, friends of friends or friends of the family. Even at this age, you know what I mean? You don't know how it's gonna happen for you. But the topic that came to me today is a kind of long title. Can you handle it? Healing, dating, and not re-traumatizing. And so I'm talking about, cycles. If you've ever found yourself in a cycle where it's like, you working on yourself, you healing, you doing your self-care, your self-love, and then you get back out there and you start dating because you kind of think you're ready, even though you still healing from some like past relationship or divorce, or you working on your traumas that have come up, whether while you was in that relationship or while you were spending that time alone. So then you get back out there and you start dating. I'm talking about men and women. And something can happen in that new connection or love interest that will like re-traumatize you. So the question is, can you handle putting yourself back out there dating? It's kind of like you don't know, excuse me, until you're back out there, right? But what I wanted to say is that, especially at a certain age, you have to be intentional. If you just look at somebody's dating profile, people can put on there what they're looking for, whether that's a long term or a marriage or something casual or a friendship. And I think that you shouldn't be scared if you see that somebody just puts like casual or friendship. It's up to us though, right? We get to choose who we interact with. And so it could kind of scare you away because you're like, well, I'm looking for a long term, but they're looking for just casual friendship. Definitely don't want something casual if that's not what you're looking for, because you want to be on the same page. However, the reason why I was saying don't be scared is because you want to be friends first. You want to develop that foundation. I know that I do, right? So if it just winds up being, somebody that you just start getting to know as a friend, that could wind up being a plus, right? And we never really want to rush into anything, whether that person says they're looking for long term or not. Some people might say they don't know what they're looking for. Just because they're probably basing it off of what they've been through. A lot of people, I feel, that are over 40 and still single and dating and looking or not looking or just whatever, or just giving up, and not really being intentional about, how they date. And also what was coming to me is that we have to figure out, boundaries for ourselves. Like, what am I willing to do during this dating time, the time before the commitment, versus, what am I willing to do and not do? So for some people that could be no sex, taking the sex off the table. And that's easier said than done, especially if you're attracted to that person, right? Because I believe that, sex is a human nature, a human need, but we also must exercise some discipline. So if you're anything like me, you've been on both sides of that coin where you're like, I'm giving up. I'm going to just, abstain, be to myself. But sometimes even in that, I have driven myself crazy. Like, oh my God, like, really, sometimes it's not even about the sex. You just want to have the companionship of another person. You know what I'm saying? If you're a woman, you want to be around a man. If you're a man, you want to be around a woman. You want to be in that energy, right? And so that can be just, again, going out on dates, spending time, getting to know each other. If you're really taking the sex off the table, then you definitely don't want to have dates in the house. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I just asked the question, can you handle it? Right? Because when you're in the process of healing, you may not really be ready for that intimacy, and also men and women, we have different needs, and different people have different needs too. We almost can't just generalize, because I think I'm going to do some later videos and going live with different people who have other experiences. Some of my female and male friends, they're divorcees. So, some of them have children. They're still, wanting a companion, not necessarily want to be married again. So that's another thing you have to take into consideration. Do I want to have more kids? Some of my friends, men and women, adamantly say no because they've already had their children, right? I think one of the kind of scariest people to date, man or woman, is the kind of like, well, let's just go with the flow and see what happens. For me, that's cool. It can be fun. But again, you have to establish your own boundaries, for yourself, right? So it's kind of like, what are you willing to do prior to the commitment? And sometimes I think as women, we do too much, right? Or even some guys, you give and you give and you give, and after a while, it's like if this person is not appreciative or reciprocating, you like, no, I can't do this to myself, But so the cycle that some people find themselves in is, like I was saying earlier, healing, dating, trauma, because something happened, right, with that person. Healing, dating, trauma. So we want to work on healing, dating, not re-traumatizing. So how do you not re-traumatize? You look for those red flags early on. Listen when that person is talking. Like, what did they say? Did they tell you from the beginning, I don't want to be married, I don't want a commitment, I do want casual sex? Right? Like, what? Like, you think you can go in and change that? You know what I'm saying? You can't make nobody, like you, right? Or want what you want, shall I say. But the cycle that I would love for all of us that are desiring the commitment to see would be healing, dating, commitment. Healing, dating, commitment. Healing, dating, commitment, marriage. Healing, dating, commitment, marriage. And so I heard this once before. It's so much floating around now, social media these days. Toxic. Some of it is good, some of it's educational, some of it is good for our soul and our spirit. Throw some Bible verses in there, some good sermons, right? But it's a lot of stuff out there, and some of it is just entertainment. And some of the stuff I put out there, I feel is entertaining, but still insightful. There are people who watch me, and for whatever reason, they like what I have to say. I be thinking I'm saying some good stuff, But it takes a lot to actually put yourself out here and have a platform. So thank you for those of you who do tune in and watch. But we want to be in a cycle of healing, dating, commitment, marriage, if that is your goal. Like I said, some people don't want to get married. But the thing about it is, why I was saying you got to be intentional, is because you can sit and just be by yourself and not date. That's your choice. But you can blink and you be 50 years old and you still single and alone. Again, that's your choice. But if you're a person who does not want that, then you just have to really be intentional. And you can't be scared to put yourself out there. Can't be afraid of your own, thinking like, oh my goodness, they're going to be just like the last person. You can't go into it with that type of fear, right? And once again, just set the boundaries. Know, like I said, what you're willing to involve yourself or to do prior to the commitment, right? And you're really just taking a chance. You hope and you pray that the person that you're interested in is on the same page as you and they're just as interested in you, which means that you all are moving forward in this cycle. This is what I wanted to say earlier. I have heard something out there that says, like, because some people feel like, well, you need to just be by yourself in order to heal. But I also heard another thought is that you and the person that you meet can heal together. And so the goal is healthy, whole persons that can come together and have a healthy and whole relationship. I hope that this was good. Y'all let me know what you all think. How's it going for you? I think for me, it's just about, I feel like been saying the same thing for years, but it's being intentional about being your best self, becoming your best self, so you can put your best self out there, right? We all have a representative, but at the end of the day, who you really are, who that person really is always going to come out, and I think that we just have to have faith and not have fear, and just, it's no perfect formula. It's trial and error. A lot of us wish that we, probably wish we would have had our person 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? But your life is your life. My life is my life. And we can't go back and change those things, but we can seek and strive to become better as we move forward. So I love you guys. I'm praying for you guys, and I wish you all health, happiness, abundance, and a lot of love. Be blessed.